Bet,
Fabulous.
bet.
Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her Podcast featuring the one and only Preece Lynch.
What's good? What's good? What's good? I appreciate you for having me on. I ain't been on the podcast in a minute, so I appreciate you.
Of course. I was like, was interested because I saw you had like a podcast. I was like, I don't know if he ever been on somebody else's podcast, but I gotta get
I,
him on my podcast. So I was
let's
like,
do it. I
so
appreciate it, but
yeah.
yeah, I haven't been on mine in a minute, but we'll get back to that soon.
So let's get to it. So, Priest, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are in your sports journey?
Yeah, I mean, my journey is not like a lot of people's, I guess you can say. I went to Walkertown Middle School. So a lot of people ask me how I ended up at Mount Tabor. I'm gonna give a shout out. Can I do shout outs on here? I give shout outs.
Of course, the
I
floor is
bet.
yours.
All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna give a shout out to Coach Mark Ray. Coach Ray, man, he had me and one of my best friends. He's like, man, y'all should go to Tabor. It could be something that's gonna change your life type deal. Cause I was gonna probably go to East or Carver, and he was probably gonna go to East. My boy was gonna go to East, but we ended up going to Mount Tabor, and ended up being the best decision I ever made in my life, to be honest. And there was some turmoil in it. At one point, I was going to transfer. I was like, I should be playing. I should be doing this, that, and third. But Coach Muse, if you know Coach Andy Muse, you know he rules with like an iron rod. Like he's never going to change his ways for anybody, and he doesn't give anybody special treatment. And at the same time, I was a good student, but I wasn't a great kid, if that makes sense. Like I was getting in trouble in school, doing a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have been doing, and I'll never forget it. Him, my mom, and another shout out, Mr. Key, the principal. He about to retire. We sitting in the principal's office, and my mom said these words that no man ever wants to hear their mother say. No young boy wants to hear their mother say is, "I'm disappointed in you." And at that point, everything changed. Like everything changed for me because I never wanted her to say that again. And as far as that aspect goes, and ended up being on varsity the year after that with Coach Muse, and playing with one of my friends is something that made me better in a sense. We made each other better every day. Um, with my junior and my senior year, we probably were one of the best teams in the state. Definitely my senior year. Junior year, we had a great team that year too. We probably should have went further than we did. I think we made it to the Elite Eight. Lost to Page, at Page. Should have beat them for sure, but we just fell short. But in my senior year, that was a year. I mean, everybody. If you ask people in Winston, they'll probably say we probably had one of the best teams that didn't win it. We were ranked in the nation at one point. Our first like 17 games, we was beating everybody by like 40. Like it was a magical run. It was me. The starting five was just me, my boy Nate, my boy Taquan, my boy Dion Robinson, and my boy Matty Madigan. Who Matty doesn't live in North Carolina anymore, but regardless, yeah, man, we were loaded, and then we had a couple freshmen off the bench. We had freshmen really coming off the bench, and we were loaded. Like we were the best team in the state. Us and Olympic that year were 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. But just to backtrack a little bit, going into my senior year, I had a different mentality. Cause my junior year, I was getting offers like out the ass. I was just getting people calling my mom's phone at work, offers everywhere. So I wanted to work harder. That just made me want to work harder. And I also had a really, really, really good AAU season. Going into my senior year with Team Winston, with Mike Russell, Coach Reynolds, my guy Mike. Also a key figure in my life, man. Changed the way I thought the game, the way I played it, made me have a different mentality and I already had this mentality in a sense, but he emphasized it for me and made me like hone in on me having the mentality of stay ready so you don't got to get ready. Always be ready, no matter what. He always tells a story to to people. He used to tell it all the time. I don't know if he still does. Where one time in the morning we had a 8 a.m. game, and I was out downstairs eating breakfast at 6 o'clock in my jersey. I had already like worked out. Like I was ready, and that tournament I ended up getting MVP. But like he just instilled that in me at that point to make me want to, be better. And going into my senior year, I had that mentality. I never was the best player on my team. I'll be the first one to tell you that. On my team, my senior years, my junior and my senior year, I wasn't the best player on my team. I had a dude Dion average 23 and like 14. McDonald's All American nominee, all these type of deals. Maddie was great. My boy Taquan averaged a triple double. But like any given day, any of us could be the best player. But one thing that all of them would tell you right now, if you were to have them on the podcast or you were to talk to them right now, they say I play the hardest. I played the hardest out of all of them. I would do everything that nobody wanted to do, take charges, dive on the floor, all the stuff that nobody wanted to do, guard the best player, whatever it was. I was the one to do it. Me and Nate, always guard the best player, but I was always the guy that just put in 100% max effort. Coach me used to tell you that same thing right now. That's one thing that I was taught and coached that you can't teach is effort. That's something that you control 100%, and that honestly carried me into college. I'm gonna skip past my first year. That was just a blur. But when I but I was at Francis Marion University for my first year. Met a lot of great people, learned a lot, got better. Didn't get to play as much as I wanted to, but regardless, it was an opportunity to play at the next level. I took it. Ended up transferring to Leeds McRae College where I finished, and where that's really where I became me. I guess you can say as far as like me being a basketball player, and being who I became. It happened at Leeds. Shout out to Coach Harden. He literally had faith in me. The man called me damn near every day from my junior year in high school to the end of my senior year in high school. Even when he found out I committed somewhere else, he still was locked in with me. So I ended up going there just based off him being loyal and him never switching up no matter what. But ended up being the second best decision I ever made in my life. To be honest, I met a lot of great people, made a lot of great connections. Ended up winning a championship my senior year. That's how everybody wants to end it. Everybody wants to end out on top. We ended up winning conference 23-9. Had a lot of great players on that team. But after that, man, it's like I said, that my college journey is what made me the basketball player I ended up being, and ended up being the person I became as well. So
For sure. Like, man, you were listing some names. I was like, dang, like, and when you talking about East, you talking about like East Forsyth.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm still slightly still getting more used to the Winston
to
Salem like
Winston,
thing,
yeah,
because like I'm like the hoop culture in Winston that a lot of people like don't know is like very rich. Like I'm just like
one of the richest.
right,
Hmm.
and you know you mentioned Mike Russell who also is a RJ Reynolds legend as
Legend.
well. So, but this leads to my question. With Winston-Salem having a huge, rich history of basketball, what does it mean to you to be part of the Winston-Salem hoop legacy?
I mean, to be honest, it's an honor. I wouldn't even consider myself. It's so rich. I wouldn't even consider putting myself in it. That's how rich it is. It's so rich, but to even be like when I go places, people know me just because of basketball. That's just honor. That's just something I'm blessed. And me and my team that I had my team my from my sophomore to my senior year, those teams were great. Those Mount Tabor teams were great. We just came up short. But being on those teams and being in Winston and playing against all the guys that the real legends like Miles, legend, Tone, legend, playing against Wit and Mike and all those CJ and all these guys and pro-ams and learning from these guys, Trav, learning from them is something that everybody that's like my generation, we learn from them. So we literally learn everything we know from them. So it was like a trickle down effect. That's how rich the culture is. It's so rich, it just like drips down onto everybody else. You know, and to be a part of it, to be like I said, I've told you this before. It's humbling, to be honest. I don't when people say that to me, I'm just like, damn, I'm blessed because I never thought a kid from Walkertown, go to Walkertown Middle School would be thought of in that sense. But it's a blessing, to be honest.
For sure. And, you had, like I said, you mentioned like you have so many hoopers coming out of Winston. Like you mentioned, you have the Holcomb Faye brothers, Trav and Witt. You even have Josh Howard and Chris Paul coming out. Like,
Yep. Yep.
both players are very successful black men that went into the league and did
Yeah.
the thing. Josh Howard having, opening up with Steve with
Yeah.
the league NC. So it's like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
listen, like the thing that I love so much about like what the word that you said is legacy, right? Josh and Chris, those guys put their legacies in Winston in the stamp forever. Like just what they did on the court. But bigger than that is what they did off the court. I was playing in Josh Howard Reynolds Park League when I was 10 and 11 years old at Reynolds Park. He's been sponsoring those things for years. This is before the league. This is when every basketball player in Winston was going to Reynolds Park when they was having fries and chicken tenders for snacks and everything at the games. If you know, you know. But like this is where like the history and the tradition is just it's so rich. And those guys, those two guys specifically, like they put a stamp on the city and put a light on the city that's like something that you can't take away. You can't take it away, and it's something that's grown and continues to be somewhat of a light to this day. Like you said, Josh does the league now. Chris has his team. They practice it. He has a gym. Like they do these, and he does community events. They all do these community events. These are guys that we looked up to. These are guys that we wanted to be like. You see him on TV. Yeah, it's cool. We see him on TV. They in the NBA playing in front of 50,000 people every night. But what we here in Winston see is them in the communities doing Thanksgiving and Christmas drives. Seeing giving the underprivileged kids things. We see that. We see that in the community, and that's way bigger than the basketball legacy.
Absolutely. And I'm just put people on. If y'all love some munchies and good food, I'm gonna tell y'all this: Chris Paul's good eating chips and stuff. They are fire. I'm gonna tell. And they play. And first of all, the fact that they're plant based, because if you know, you know, like how he
Yeah,
changed his diets. That if the real ones know it, they know.
yeah.
But them things that his
They
good
fire.
eating,
They fire.
yeah.
They hit. They hit.
The hot puffs, like I know a
They
lot of
hit.
people love Takis and stuff, but the hot puffs,
They
like
hit. Them
yes,
hit.
and it's made out of real cayenne pepper in it too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
whew. So, but I think it's like I said, I think to me, out of all the cities in North Carolina, I like I said, I think Winston to me, honestly, Winston's hoop history to me is probably the best out of it. Like, and
I agree.
I
I'll tell
mean,
you this. There's some surrounding states. I mean, some surrounding cities, Charlotte, Greensboro. They'll say they have the same kind of legacy, but I mean, and they do. Like, I'm not gonna take no credit. Like Greensboro and Charlotte have rich hoop legacies. They do. But when we talking about real legacy,
yeah,
Reynolds. I'm just gonna give you early 2000s, late 90s Reynolds teams winning championships out the wazoo. Like these
3 years
guys
in a
back to
row.
back to back. Like, and if you talk to Witt, he gonna let him know. He gonna let him know. Like a lot of people, I was at the game when Braun played against Reynolds, and I'm gonna give my boy his credit. Ray Terry made Braun work. He made him work. He made him work. I've never and like that right there is just something like that. You think back and like I said that was that's 2026. That's 20 years ago almost. You know what I'm saying? Like we thinking
Mhm.
back then, but me being a kid growing up and seeing that, that's like damn. I want to be like Ray. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know really who you just there because everybody talking about LeBron, but you see Ray doing what he do. Then he goes to Carolina, has a great career after Carolina. And everything. It's just like the history is so deeper than what people think. It's so many hidden gems. That's the other thing about Winston that's like crazy. Is like there's so many hidden gems. Like we have, uh, even after me, we could talk about my man Flomo, Kedrick Flomo.
Thank you. Please
Listen,
let
a lot of people
shout out
don't
to
have.
Flo.
A,
Shout out
a
to
lot of
Flo.
people don't really give Flo his flowers because he had a situation when he got to school. But Flomo was different, man. Like Flomo, Mike Hughes, those guys were different. Like they just brought different everything to the
Mhm.
basketball plate. This is my nephew. You gonna might see his ponytail in there, but I'm on babysitting duty. But yeah, you just gotta understand. Like, hey, hey, hey. Okay, come on. And then he can sit. He can sit. He's
Oh,
fine. He can sit. Um, but
so
yeah, he
cute.
those guys are just like legends. Like it's that rich that there's guys that people don't even talk about that they should. Like like I said, my boy Taquan, he averaged a triple double. Like he was second in the block to a guy that ended up going to the NBA. Like, come on, like it's just so rich and so deep and so historic. It just it makes you put perspective on a lot of stuff as far as like basketball and the hoop state goes. But I'm biased, so I don't care. Trefo, we got the best hoops. It is what it is. And if anybody got, y'all want to run it, we can set it up. It ain't nothing to it.
I'm glad you mentioned about first of all, shout out to Kedrick Flomo. Like
My
that's
guy.
my like I always say like Kendrick was one of the people that I met in college at
Yeah,
UNCW, like to and like here and it's so interesting. I never got a chance to watch him play, but I would as I
you
grew, but like I know I was like I'm living in Wilmington, but like my thing
listen,
was like to hear what he has done, like in Winston, and like this man is a Hall of Fame for North Forth
listen,
Side,
listen.
like 30
Flow,
plus.
flow is different, man. Flow is different. Flo was one of them ones. Like you know, we could talk about Harry all day. Like I can talk about AG all day. That's my dog. Love Harry, love him to death. But Flomo was, I mean, damn. Let's do his name, Flomo. Like that, hell of a name. Flomo was different, man. He brought different everything to it. Like, and I'll give him his flowers anytime anybody talks about guards in Winston. He was one of the best I've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's just me though, but it's that rich. It's that rich, man. The tradition in Winston is that rich, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Absolutely. But shout out to Flo for real. And speaking of which, you mentioned some of these legends from Winston. Who would you say are like your who would you say are like your top five, and also maybe some honorable mentions? Who would you say is your top five like legends or players from Winston-Salem that you looked up to or you really admired their game and just like damn, like
All right.
dang.
All right. So are we gonna exclude Josh and CP?
Hey, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I'm gonna go just off of what I seen like in middle school, like going, from there. Okay. First name I'm gonna say, and this is no order. I'm not giving no order. I'm not gonna do a
Right.
top five because I'm not gonna disrespect anybody.
Right, of course.
All right. So I'm gonna say CJ Harris. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do 3 and 1. I'm gonna do a 3 and 1 like one list because Josh, Mike, Grace, Josh Hicks, Mike Grace, and CJ Harris. Man, listen. You talking about some dogs. You talking about some dog? They made you want to go to Mount Tabor. Like they made you want to go to Mount Tabor. Those three guys. So I'm gonna put them as list one. I'm just gonna have them as one. I don't care. I'm a Tabor alum. I'm gonna say that. The second I'm gonna say another Tabor alum, and he's slept on, and a lot of people going when I say his name, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he was crazy." Trey Irvin was nice as hell. They didn't have to guard him. I had to guard him all the time. he was crazy. Trey was super nice. But those are just we're gonna honor and mention those guys because they table guys, so they are automatically gonna be number one on my list. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna give Miles his flowers. Miles was a different animal, man. He was a great basketball player. Um, Tone was nice. I, Tone was so good you ain't know what position he played because he was everywhere. So I give Tone his flowers. Oh man, who else? I'm gonna throw some out of the woodworks. This is just like when I was coming in. William PA, nice. Will was nice. If you know, you know. Will was different. Will was
From
different.
WSSU, from Williams,
Yes.
Winston-Salem State.
Yes. Will was
Okay.
nice. Um, PJ Harrison from Dudley. Whew. Another guy ended up going to the NBA. But boy, I'm telling you, he was different. He was different. And then I'm gonna say somebody that I seen from afar that I like just to watch him hoop was JT Terrell. He went to West
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte. I loved watching him hoop also. But if we're gonna go old heads, I'm going Ray Terry. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going Wit, and I'm gonna go to the dude that taught me how to be a bucket, Walt Baxley. You should get him on here. You should get Walt on here.
I had Walt on here.
Oh yeah, he got some shit. He got some shit to talk about. He got some shit to talk about. Walt,
You gotta check it out. I had Walt on
listen,
here.
listen. I'm gonna tell you this. Walt, there was a practice. He came to Tabor, and he gave me like 18 straight. It was nothing I could do. It was nothing I could do. Nothing. But Walt was crazy. Um, man, I could say Trav too. Trav was different, and Trav was older when I was coming up, but he was still nice. Trav, I could never move Trav off the post. He used to post me up, and I was 5 or 6 inches taller than him. I could never post him up. but he would post me up all the time. He taught me a lot too, man, as being one of my coaches. And then um, I man, it's so many. But my last one will probably be Ant Thomas. Ant Thomas was our LeBron before LeBron. And if he was in Winston, you know that. Him and J5 and them guys put on the show. Every night they was on the floor. So those guys all, set a precedent for me when I was coming up. Me and I lived on the east side. I lived maybe 10 minutes from Winston Prep. So I used to see them guys play all the time, and Ant was like, to me, he was. I thought he was going to the NBA out of high school. He was so damn good. That's what I thought. But yeah, for me, those guys all from after those older guys and like right before I started or when I was in high school still, those guys all set a precedent for me. I watched all of them. I watched everybody. I always took stuff from everybody, and those would be the main guys I took something from for sure.
Dang, like it's interesting. I was like, I didn't realize Rayshawn Terry was from Winston, and I was like, oh, I remember that name from UNC when he won the championship in '05 with
Mm-hmm.
like Jackie Manuel, Raymond Felton, Sean
Mm-hmm.
May. So I'm like, oh, I was like, but it's interesting you name some of those players. Like, I don't just like because I remember about PJ Harrison. He's from Greensboro, so but it's
Mm-hmm.
like he was part of UNC that like
Yep.
it was just like and it was crazy because he was part of that UNC team that lost to Florida State so badly to where they had no nets in practice. They just
Yep.
ran until Roy Williams said, "I'm just tired." I'm just
Yep.
like, it's just I man, like the talent is so. First of all, I need Wit on here. That's who I need. Is Wit. I've been Wit,
I'll set it up for you. I'll set it up for you. Cause he like to
but
talk too. And he gonna talk some shit. But that's my guy.
shout out to Wit though. Shout out to Walt because, like I said, like those. You mentioned like I think a lot of people like when it comes to giving people their flowers, especially in the Winston, like people need to realize like who are some of the people that establish how Winston is right now, but
Yeah.
also like in the future, like you talk and dang, you pulled out a big one with CJ Harris from Wake Forest. I was like, dang, like
Listen, CJ was so good in high school. That shit was fake. It was fake. It, it was bad. I remember one time at a workout at Tabor, he jab stepped somebody and made him fall. Like just jab, dude fell. Like CJ was just different, man. Him and Mike too. Like to this moment that I'm talking to you, Mike still has one of the best mid ranges I've ever seen. To this moment, I'm sitting here talking to you. So those guys set a different like precedent for sure. Like all those guys I just named. Even like Miles was in high school when I was still there, but you see, like Miles was getting 30 and 30s before that was a thing. Like in high school, like at a high level, he was doing it. Him and Tone, those guys were different, man. But definitely the Winston culture, and like I said, it's a trickle down. Everything that's been from Walt, Witt, Trav, and Ray, and all them, and Josh, and those guys just trickle down to CJ, Mike, all them guys trickle down to my generation. We try to trickle down to the next and next and next. Granted, it's a little different now, but it's just the culture is always gonna be here. It's always gonna Winston. When you think Winston Salem, you're gonna think about two things: tobacco and basketball. Like that's just, that's what it is.
it's just like and like I could like just seeing so many people playing in the league and seeing stuff like, and I'm like, oh, I never heard. I was like, but then like I do my research, so it's like I gotta
Yeah.
make sure I do my research to know like, because one thing for sure, I'm gonna always do my research and be like,
Absolutely.
let me just do my little hoop history, so put people on, so
Yeah.
let know like I live in Winston, I stay in Winston, so like let people know like yeah, Charlotte is cool, and
It
yeah,
ain't Winston.
but when it
It ain't
comes to
Winston.
mind you, it's like if you think about it, Winston had the number one ranked player in the
In the country.
nation,
In the
in the
country.
country, in the
The country.
country. Let's
Even when he was hurt, he was still number one. That's how good he was.
shout out to Harry. Shout out to Harry Giles
Listen,
for real. Shout out to
listen.
the man.
I don't care what anybody ever says about HG. Ever. I don't. They can't ever tell me nothing bad about him. They can't say talk shit about him in front of me. Cause I'm gonna tell them this man was number one in the nation. hurt, not hurt. And we talking about over guys that are in the NBA making 300, $400 million right now. And he was that for a reason. He Harry, like I can't. The shit I used to see him do was speechless. I'm not gonna say who, but we had to go recruit him, and he was in middle school. That we had to go look at him play because we wanted him to come to Tabor. That's how bad we wanted him to come to Mount Tabor because he was that damn good as a seventh, eighth grader. He was that good. But that's another
Yeah.
guy, man. Like, and I can go all day about HG, man. I don't try to go in depth because I love him like a brother. Like that's literally like my little bro. And
Mhm.
he went through a lot. And to see him even like now, him overcoming everything he went through, bro. That's a Winston thing. That's a Winston thing. That have that grit and that mental that he has to be able to overcome all the shit that he's overcome. That's a Winston thing. He's Winston through and through.
For sure. Shout out to, first of all, like I said, shout out to Harry. Like I said, like there's like, when you think of like I said, I mean, Winston had the number one player in the nation for the men's, and also had the number one, say, girls in the nation. So, which leads to my question. I definitely see you as an advocate for women's sports. But what
Mm-hmm.
inspired you to advocate for women's basketball?
Truthfully, my sisters, I have all sisters. I have all sisters. I have a little girl. She's 8. And what you see now in women's sports is not them necessarily not being talked down on, but they don't get talked about enough. You know? And the reality of it is when it comes to women's sports, they work just as hard as men, if not harder, to get to where they are and to overcome what they overcome. And they got to, and women, as women, y'all go through a lot. It just naturally you go through a lot. So for me, me having a daughter definitely changed my perspective on it. Like getting more in depth with like women's sports and how you can have an impact on it. But also just everybody around me is basketball, basketball, basketball. So naturally, I'm always around it. But to me, women's sports is women in sports is probably top line topic right now if you want to be honest in general, and it's something that us as athletes and people in the communities we should invest more time and effort in supporting them, because honestly that's what it comes down to for like women in sports. It's not about the money, it's not about the all the other, it's about the support. If they get the support, all the other stuff is going to come you know so that's the main thing for me. And like I said, I know I could never coach girls basketball. I could never coach it because I have a potty mouth. so, so I could never coach it. But I love watching it. It's the most fun. It's the part of the game that I like the most or that I enjoy the most is the fundamentals. And when you watch women's basketball, that's what you see. You see a lot of the fundamentals like rear its head, and that's what I love about especially women's basketball. But the thing about women in sports is just growing in general. Like if you think about like now in college, they have flag football. Like they have those type of sports. They're building the women in sports arena is growing on a daily basis, or on a yearly basis, however you want to put it. But it's growing, and all they need is the support. And I like to be somebody that supports them, just because, like I said, I have my sisters all play sports. They all ran track, play basketball, all that. My daughter, she's a cheerleader, but I still want to, try maybe get her in some other sports, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's just the support. They need our support. And it's not, if you actually sit and watch a girls basketball game, which a lot of people won't do because they think it's boring, they don't dunk, they don't do these things, you probably get something out of it. Probably something that you could take to the men's game, honestly, to be truthful. But it's something that they just need to support, and I love to support them. To be honest, that's just it. I just love to support them.
What would you say are some of the top women hoopers that you really really enjoy watching and admiring,
Now,
whether past or present?
okay, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you 3 names from the past that I used to love to watch. I used to love to watch Melissa Calicott. She went to my school. She went to Mount Tabor. She ended up going to Wake. She was different. She was a bucket. Whitney Knight.
Shout out to Whitney.
Listen, Whitney was real different. She was cold. She was cold, 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 cold blooded. Um, and then my third one is it's RIP for sure. I loved her, man. Celeste was on her way, man. Celeste was on her way to being one of them ones. To be honest, I loved watching her play. She used to always come in the cafeteria and tell us what she was gonna do in the game, and then do it in the morning. So, and we loved it, man. I love Celeste, man, and it was, unfortunate, her journey ended up getting cut a little short, but she was amazing when she was here. Like, she was a top tier player for sure. But now, I love watching Paige. I love watching Paige Beckers. Oh my god, I love her. I think she's Kyrie point 2.0. But I like watching her now. I like watching Olivia Miles. Oh my god, she is so nice. And I'm not gonna go with like Asia, of course. I love Asia. She's different. But Olivia Page, um, this is a tough one because I love women's basketball. To be honest, I love me some women's basketball. But I'll say Fee. I love watching Fee. Fee a bucket.
Mm,
The Fiji Collier, she's tough. I love watching her too. Alyssa Thomas, if she could get a consistent jump shot, I would love watching her more. But she dictates so much, like without having to be or being able to shoot that well. I like watching her also. She's like a better Draymond to me. Like, if we're talking about a women's version of it. But those are the ones I like to watch right now. That's on just the playing side. Coaching side, I love me some Dawn Staley. Love her. Absolutely love her. I love me some Dante. I love her energy. I love her passion. I love how she's so authentic. I love it all. And she's never gonna let anybody change her or dictate how she reacts to things. Like, we seen her in the NCAA tournament with the Geno thing. She never changed her tone not one time. She never switched up anything. She stayed on her 10 and she held her ground, and that's just Dawn. That was Dawn to a T. And I love watching some Dawn Staley coach.
for sure. And it's so I've never. So you put me on to the first one, Madison, like Khalifa,
Melissa Calicott.
Melissa Calica. I'm gonna have to search her out because I was like, this is new. So you put me on to that.
If you
So
know, you know. If you
so
know, you know. She was different. She was different. She was
I'm gonna have
nice.
to I'm gonna have to do like a lot of research for sure. And first of all, you mentioned Whitney Knight. Like Whitney Knight put I people forget like Whitney put on like for the Gulf Coast before the Kristen Bell. Whitney Knight was the first ever player in Florida Gulf Coast history to be drafted in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
was the number one ranked girl coming out in North Carolina from
Yep.
Winston. That's
From
an
the tray.
like
From the tray.
so um
We breed
and
them. We breed horses. We breed horses. All right.
and man, I used to. It was interesting. I used to when I was in JUCO, I used to hear about Celeste all the time, and then just the unfortunate tragedy that hit. It
Mm-hmm.
was I was like, man, and to like still hear her like the impact that she has made, not
Man.
just women, not only just women's basketball, but like in men, how so many
Mm-hmm.
guys really who knew her played basketball
Mm-hmm.
against her like the
Listen,
so
perspective. That's a word I've been using a lot lately. Celeste brought a lot of perspective to Winston-Salem after that tragedy. Like, truthfully, she brought a lot of perspective.
can you break that down like for those
Yeah.
that don't know, can you break that down like
Yeah.
how did Celeste Burgess bring perspective for Winston Salem
Listen,
hoops?
so when you watch Celeste play, you watch passion and you watch her give her all at all times. And as I stated before with like Harry, though, passion all the time, right? Any of these Winston guys I'm talking about, we're talking passion. That's Winston Salem and Celeste. The people that didn't have it or didn't, at that time, even her teammates at the time, right? I seen them play with different passions because, like I said, I was there. I was at Mount Tabor when all this happened. So, it put a lot of different stuff in perspective, in the sense of everybody ended up, a lot of people, and myself included. I'll say that, like, it made us want to work harder in a sense because, like, we seen her give it her all at all time, and then it made us also realize, like, and it could be here today and gone tomorrow. Like, and like I said, that's a tragedy what happened, and but her life has still been, something that's lived on through her brother, her mom, and everything that they do for the community. And that's the perspective part. Like, like everything that she brought and everything that she was about. it still lives on to this moment that you and I are talking. So perspective with that is, it was a lot. It was a lot of perspective, and that's the main. If I'm gonna say perspective that I got is work hard, and it could be here today, gone tomorrow. Type deal.
For sure, like just hearing that, I feel like you hear this like she's the epitome of what girls basketball coming out of Winston Salem is.
Yeah, no, literally, and like Whitney was before her, but Celeste was. I'm not even saying that because she's no longer here with us, but Celeste was on her way. Like, man, I'm talking about a player that can do it all, and played hard from the start to the finish. As a youngin, she was younger than me, so we watching her like, damn, she nice. Like, like we watching that, and like I said, the perspective of watching how hard she plays, and she's one of the best players in the nation at the time, one of the best in the nation, and watching her do what she did on the court, and and have that impact on everybody in that short amount of time, that shows how like powerful of a figure she was.
Sure, we just want to give Miss Celeste her flowers while she's
Absolutely.
here. Just give her. So, and this leads to my question. On I always say that athletes are humans first,
Yeah.
and this leads to my question. As a black man, a father, and an athlete, how important is mental health to you?
It's the most important thing. Like, especially as a black man in this country. And the reality of it is, and this is not me saying this because I am a black man in this country. It's the truth. We have the cards stacked against us, right? Like, we have to do more to get to where we want to be. And mental health is something that is important because it can go one or two ways, if you know what I mean, in that sense, right? Like, your mental can either like build, you can have a mental health, like your mental can build you, and that could be like a thing that pushes you, right? That can make you go and strive and do everything that you want to do and be the best version of you that you can be. Or your mental health can be the thing that brings you down, right? And the problem, I would say, with especially the black community, right, is and like we don't deal with it enough. We don't deal with our mental health enough. We rather just deal with everything on our backs until it like literally weighs us down, right? And that's something, as a man in general, we do that. Maybe it's provider pressure, right? Maybe it's whatever the situation is. But you can't. I'm gonna tell everybody this on this call, right? Or on this pod. You can't be the best version of you for somebody else if you can't be the best version of you for you,
Mm.
right? Like, how do you expect to give somebody, you know, 70% of you, right? If you can't even give yourself 50 or 40%, right? Because you don't want to, or because it's hard, or because you're afraid what people gonna say, or you're afraid of all these different outliers that really don't have anything to do with you, but you let it affect you, right? So the main thing, the main thing with mental health and why it's so important to me is because I've seen it literally like destroy people, right? I've seen it make people go into left field when they don't, that's not them, right? They come from great families, they come from a good environment, but their mental health, something could have happened. Nobody knows because they didn't tell anybody, right? They didn't talk to anybody. Something could have happened that made them act this way or made a person act this way. So my message with all that is, guys, girls, everybody, right? Just go talk to somebody. Just get it out, because like if you don't get it out, it's gonna overwhelm you, and it's really gonna have a worse effect, that a way more negative effect than a positive effect. And like I said before, you have to be able to give yourself some grace, and give yourself a mental, sometimes you gotta give yourself a mental check, so that way you can give the people around you. Like you said, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm all these things, right? And I want to give my people around me, you know, 100%. But to this moment I'm talking, there could be days where I don't even feel like I'm giving myself that. But you have to figure out how you can do that, right? That's where you got to find yourself a mental space or something that can clear your mind or something that or talk to somebody, which I 100% think everybody should do is talk to people. You're not crazy if you get a therapist, okay? So my people out there, if you get a therapist, you're not crazy, okay? You're human. You're human. The reality, like you said, we're all human. We all have feelings. We all have emotions, and we all deal with them different. It's over 1 trillion people on the planet. We all deal with all our emotions differently. So you have to find out how you're going to deal with those emotions, and you have to be able to express them and deal with it in a sense of serenity and stability for yourself to be able to dish it, to be able to be your 100% version of yourself for everybody else.
For sure, because I always say I've always wondered when it comes to men's mental health. Like, are there times where like you know you want to say something, but you feel like that stigma of if I say something, I'm gonna be considered weak, and it's like
Absolutely.
that can't
That's and
like
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like the and it's so much worse now with this social media. Like social media makes it so much worse. But like it also is social media is also doing a part of making it a little bit better. Also, I'm not going to just say it's making it worse. It's also making it. They're doing their part trying to make it better. Like you see all these people on social media giving out mental like try to how to deal with your mental health. Those things that people that doing that do that. Like that's something that they should continue to do. But like you said, the stigma is like, oh, he weak as hell because he got emotions, or he weak because he feel away, or he cries so he weak, or he's too emotional, right? But what is that? What's too emotional? What do we really know what that is? How do you know what's too emotional for somebody, right? How do you know what somebody you never know what somebody's dealing with. So that stigma is definitely a thing. Like there's times, and I'm guilty of it, as in every man probably in the world is. They'll just, I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to seem like a sucker, or I ain't gonna say nothing because I don't want to be looked at like this. Whole time, it's something that's gonna bother them for years and years and years. You know what I'm saying, or months or however long. Instead of just saying something, get off your chest, and venting to somebody, or shoot, doing something to get it off your mind. You just hold on to it, and that's the worst thing to do, because then it starts to feel like an anchor. And what do anchors do when they're tied to somebody or tied to a thing? They bring you down, right? So yeah, it's that stigma is definitely a thing, and it's like I said, in the black community, it's terrible. It's really bad, but hopefully, as we progress in the world, it'll be something that it'll get better eventually.
for sure. Because I like I said, like I always wonder, like because it's like if you think about it, for those that be reading the Bible or they be
Mm-hmm.
religious, even the strongest man alive cried. He even
Pride.
said that Jesus wept. Jesus was the strongest man alive that everybody,
Exactly.
and this man wept. Like if the strong is like I look at it, if the strongest man alive wept and was able to cry, I mean, I would think, you would think like a man should be able to express his emotions, but like we spoke about, you talked about like it's that stigma that society has placed that a man
Mm-hmm.
has to be strong and manly and all this stuff. But I sometimes I wondered, like, don't y'all get tired of having to be strong all the time? Don't y'all like want to
Yes.
relax and just like
Yeah.
not take on the world on the weight of your shoulders all the time?
Yes, we do. But the problem is, a lot of times we don't know how. And that's the thing, like we don't grow up, a lot of us grow up with our dads or without, right? One or the other. And if you grow up without them, you're kind of like you kind of coached and taught like you can't be no softy. You can't cry. You can't, you have to be tough. And even with your dad, it could be worse. Like, dude, what are you crying for? Like, stop crying. So it's definitely, yeah, we want to, but a lot of it comes to we don't know how to, you know. But now we live in a society and a world of technology and information. So it's all around you. If if you're going through something and you need to figure out how to deal with it, you can go to Google, AI, whatever you want to do. How can I deal with this? And they're gonna give you a trillion different solutions, right? So if you don't try to take those avenues at this point, it's like you don't really want to, you know? It's like you really don't want to. And that's the other thing about, especially us men, we're stubborn as hell. Like we're stubborn. And we're stuck in our ways, right? So it's something that you have to it's a marathon. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? And
Mhm.
I used to tell my players this when I coached at Tabor, like, um, everybody forgets that the turtle won the race. You know, it's not gonna all happen in one snap. It's gonna take time. You know, so it's that dealing with your mental health and being able to, you know, gauge the conversation, just to start a conversation with your mental health, and about your mental health. That's the start. You know, it's a marathon.
For sure. And this leads to my question. You know, you mentioned you played at least McCray, and a lot of people,
Hmm.
I know a lot of people like to kind of downplay, like if you're not at a D1,
Hmm.
but for you, what would you say are some of the misconceptions of the D2 competition?
Okay. I was hoping you would ask me this question. Cause I get asked this question all the time, like just in general. First thing I'm gonna say is the only difference between that I've seen a lot between D2 and D1 is the big men. D2 we don't get a lot of 7 footers. Damn near every D1 got a 6'11", 7 foot guy, right? Or somebody big. But the misconception is that you can't get to where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go D1, I see a lot of kids making the mistake of trying to go D1 so bad because it's the D1 moniker. You know, instead of going somewhere where they're going to be valued and they're going to be wanted and they're going to be, you know, they're going to grow as a player and a person, right? Because I'm going to just give an example, right? Like if you're at a D1 and you're sitting on the bench and you're not playing, you're sitting there, right? How are you learning? How are you learning how to be like depended on, right? I mean that's minute in this, right? But how are you learning how to be dependent on? But you could have went to a D2 and been one of the better players, and you could have been a key clog, and that's your growth as a man, growth as a person, because you're gonna go through learning curves. You're gonna learn through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Going through those things, especially in sports. Sports and life, they go hand to hand. Everybody knows that. But the misconception is definitely the biggest one is definitely that you can't go do what you want to do if you want to be a professional or whatever outside of D1. Because here's the reality of it, right? And I did like a little seminar one time, and I had 100 kids in there, right? And I told all 100 kids to put their hands up. They all put their hands up. I said, okay, out of all you guys, who all wants to be professional athletes? How many of them you think had their hand up still? All of them, all 100 of them, right? So then I told half the room put their hands down. Right? They put their hands down. So then you already back at 50 people, right? So out of those other 50 that I have, I say, okay, everybody except the first row, put your hand down. So now you're at 5 to 10 people, right? We're at 10 people. So at that point, I'm like, okay, everybody except you, put your hand down, right? That's one person left. This is what I call the 1% rule. Only 1% of y'all are even going to go to college to play. You
Mhm.
blessed to be able to do that. That's a blessing in its own. And guess what? Out of that 1%, we talking 1%. Point like three go play professional. Think about how many players are in the world that are doing the same thing that you're trying to do, and you making a decision based off of whether that's your parents want you to go there. You hearing everybody say you need if you don't go D1 you suck. If you don't do this you suck. Here's the reality of it. Your ass might not go. You probably not gonna be a professional anyway. The percentage is already against you, right? But what you can do is enjoy your time while you're in college. You can enjoy it. Well, I know me personally, I wouldn't enjoy myself sitting on the bench at a D1, which is why I didn't go. Right? I had probably 12 coaches tell me straight up, you're probably not gonna play a lot or even minimal until like midway through your sophomore year. Dude, why would I want to do that? Right? Like why would I? I love the game. Why would I want to sit there and not play? Right? But that's the stigmatism, and I hate it because a lot of, especially this new generation, they're so like D1 or bust or D1 or nothing. And I will say I've seen a lot of more kids go D2, and it makes me feel good in the sense of like, okay, D2's getting some respect now, right? Like D2's getting some respect because we always were disrespected as D2 guys. But I will tell you this: I busted a lot of D1 ass, a lot, and they'll tell you a lot of D1 guys will tell you that. But that's the main thing. And if I'm gonna give any piece of advice to any kid, right? Any kid out there doing anything, go where you want it, go where you're appreciated, go where you're valued. I said that at the beginning. I'm gonna say it again. That word is so big, right? Value. That is a word that kids these days going into colleges or going into situations they don't understand. You're not going to be valued at a D1 if you're not a D1 guy, right? You're just a replaceable guy. They're going to replace you regardless, right? So why go there and be miserable? You might enjoy the school. It might be a great school. You know what I'm saying? You might be great people. Like that's gonna be cool. But if you love your sport, basketball, football, baseball, whatever, if you really love it, right? Nobody wants to sit on that damn bench. Nobody wants to. What makes it worse is you can bust your ass, right? You can do everything you want, as far everything the coach want to the T, and guess where you still gonna be at? End of the bench, right? Because they don't see the value. D2, that's the thing. I love my coach to death. I will always give Coach Harden his flowers to the moment. To this moment, he saw value in me. He saw value in me, and he gave me a chance to be special, right? To do something special for a community that to this moment loves me to this day, right? So, guys, go where you value, man. Like, and go where they actually want you. Like it's okay to go D2. It's nothing wrong with it. Like you can still go. I know so many guys that go overseas to play D2. That have played D2. One of my best friends was he's the all-time Peach Belt leading scorer in the whole conference. Francis Marion. He went to Francis Marion. He's my if I was to get married there, he'd be my best man. He's having a great career overseas. One of my other friends, Mike Davis, he went to Queens when they were D2. They D1 now, but he went there when he was D2, having a great career. A bunch of those guys on that Queens team went to go have great careers overseas. Lincoln Memorial, one of the best D2s in the nation. They beat Butler, who was like a top 10 and 15 ranked team that year when I was my senior year. They beat Butler because they had a guy that went to the NBA. Like these guys have like there's talent in D2. You just have to you have to get out of that stigma and that headspace of it's you guys ain't nice because you D2. Okay. Until you get out there and you see I lace my shit the same up you do. What makes it different? Right? But that's a stigma.
I will say I come from mid major. Like I came from a mid major college,
Hmm.
graduated from it, which to me is like it's just as competitive as say like the D1s, the D2s, the NAIAs. And I look at
Absolutely.
it and like, and I agree wholeheartedly. Like I've always told like different athletes that come here or I speak, hey, you got to go where you're going to be appreciated, not tolerated. Because there's a difference between being appreciated and being tolerated. And at the end of the day, too, like, you know, I think a lot of people love the limelight, the spotlight, the aura of I want to be a D1 so I could get all these things. But it's like okay, cool, but like, do you want to showcase your talent where you're able to?
Exactly.
Because if you're just going there for the name and then you don't get a chance to showcase your talent, why? Like, and then you have like JUCO. People like to sleep on JUCO, but JUCO got dogs coming out of JUCO,
Listen.
and
Listen.
like
I am especially now with the new rules, kids, go to JUCO. If you're not getting offers you don't want, go JUCO. It doesn't count against you now.
it don't,
You still
it
get
don't.
4 years in a 4 year college. Just why not go and play against competition that's gonna get you better? So when you go to the next level, you be ready, right? And then here's the other thing that's great about D2 that is getting this credit for now, right? And I'll say this precursor. I hate the transfer portal. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it for the kids. I don't hate it for me. I hate it for the high school kids, right? Because now they're not getting recruited like they used to. Colleges go straight to the portal, right? So here's the thing about D2 now that is giving us our credit a little bit more. we're like the new JUCO. Like we're like the JUCO now. D2 is like the JUCO now. Like they'll go D2 for a year or two, and then next thing you know, you see them at a mid major or high major because they performed at a high level, right? That JUCO now is elite. Like do that, guys. If you're not getting the offers you want, and if the problem is, and this I hate to say it, but the damn parents have a lot to do with this. Parents have a lot to do with this. They do. They really do. But dude, go where you can get better. Go where you can grow as a player and as a person. And I'll tell you, from all my people I know that have went JUCO, it grew them up as a player and a person. Nothing wrong with it. And guess what? You're still playing high level basketball. And the same thing goes for like NAIA. Go play. Why if you have the opportunity to go. Because well, remember what I said? 1%. We're talking about one person out of 100 kids may go. That's not even guaranteed. You might go. So
I just want to highlight too how one of the best shot blockers, one of the best defenders came from a D2. He played at Virginia Union, which is a
Ben
HBCU.
Wallace.
Thank you. So I just want to highlight that because, and not to mention, he was undrafted and became the first undrafted player in the Hall of Fame.
Listen, there's a guy in the NBA right now that a lot of people might not even know went D2. Do you know who it is?
I have an idea, but you gonna probably I already know you're gonna tell me. Let the folks know. I have an idea, but
His name is Derek White, world champion, Boston Celtics 2024.
yes, okay, yes, I had him because he went to Colorado too after D2. Yes, yes, yes. Please, because here's the thing, and the man was all defensive team this year.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. Like, there's guys in D2. Like, yes, the percentage is a lot lower, right? To maybe go to the league or whatever. But damn near they got the same chance that high majors got. You know what I'm saying? They got the debt because everybody's not going to the NBA. Everybody's not going. Like, and you have to like. There comes a time when if you're a real hooper and you know this, like, and you know it if you're a hooper, you're not going to the NBA, bro. You're not going to the NBA. Like, it's just not gonna happen, right? But you can still go overseas, make money. You can do your thing. That's at the D1 or the D2 level. You can go do it. So it's a lot of misconception about D2, but people will sleep on it. Earl the Pearl Monroe, Winston-Salem State legend, one of the best top 75 NBA players of all time. We're talking about went to a D2. Come on, man. Like, what are we talking about? It's just a perception and how. And it's honestly just people that talk down on it. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, we get money games at D2 to go play D1, whatever. Yeah, cool. Thanks for the gear. Appreciate you. But there's I'm just gonna say when I was in college, I almost beat a D1. And my coach had a problem getting other D1s on the list the next few years because we almost beat one. So and that team went to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. We almost beat them.
It's just I think like I just think when you see a name, but also like I and this is another thing that I feel like when it comes to the places too, that I see a lot of athletes when it comes to like places they choose, but also another thing that also kind of takes a toll on the mental health as well as I need people to realize, like, just because a player doesn't go to a college that you want to go to, doesn't mean you could send crazy messages or like say, "Hey, you messed up my parlay." This is another thing that I never understood about, like,
Oh
the
my
whole,
gosh.
like,
Oh
that's a
my god.
like when people start having the conversations of the like, yes, they're allowing gambling now where you could bet
Yeah.
on, say, to me, it's like now you just like basically place the target on these athletes to where like you just see them, but it's like I can't.
It takes
Mm-mm.
away. I sports gamble. I'll be the first one to tell you. I sports gamble, right? But what it does, it takes away the purity of the game, right? Because you don't know what the hell's going on. Like it makes you instead of just watching, you like, damn, is he selling the parlay? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think about that, but like, I know that's the thing. Like people think about that, and we've seen a lot come to fruition lately. Like with people doing it, and it sucks because it takes away the purity of the game. It does. It really does. But honestly, it's just a money grab for the government. It's just another way for the government to make money, to be honest. So
All I know is folks ain't ready for that conversation.
they not, they not,
They
they
not.
not. Trust me, they not.
And this leads to my question, for you, if there was a word or a phrase to describe your journey so far, what would it be?
Oh man, one word or phrase.
It could be many words too.
I'm just gonna say marathon. I'm just say marathon. Marathon, not a sprint. Turtle won the race. I'll say that. That's it. And that's how I try to live like my life. Understanding, trying to be patient with everything. Day by day is gonna be different. And no one day is gonna be the same, right? Unless you laying on the beach for 5,000 days in a row. But even then, a different bird might pull up on you than another one did, right? Um, but that's it, man. Marathon, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, and the turtle win the race. Because at the end of the day, life gonna life. Everything gonna happen for a reason. And if you got faith in God and you have a strong support system around you, you can overcome damn near anything. To be honest, and that's one thing about me that my support system that's been around me, they've helped me overcome everything, including this little munchkin butt here.
Shout out to your nephew.
Say hey.
Loki, for some reason, every time you mention marathon, like I think of Nipsey Hussle because that man
and
always fucking back.
and listen, like when Nipsey dropped that album, right? Victory Lap. To this moment, I'm talking to you. I probably listen to that album once a week. And he has a verse, and this is goes back to me saying like the people around you, like the people that you surround yourself with, right? He has a verse. Circle got smaller, everybody can't go. As you like go on this journey, right, of life, you're gonna lose people, you're gonna lose friends, right? Everybody can't go with you on your journey because what God has for you on your journey is what He has for you. It ain't gonna be the same for everybody else. So I mean, I'm blessed to have. I've had the same friends for 20 years. My group of friends has been the same for almost 20 years, and people that's been added to has been. Is my circles is a tight circle. Everybody knows that we love each other. We tell each other we love them all the time. We love each other all the time. But it's circle got small. Everybody can't go. That resonates with me every time I hear it, and I say it super loud every time I hear that verse because it's real. Like that's real. As you progress in life, everybody's not gonna be able to go with you because everybody's journey not the same. Love Nip.
Absolutely.
R.I.P. Nip, man. R.I.P. Nip. That was great. He was a great. Me, my boy Nap, my boy Jay Nap. But we was on Nip in '09. Everybody, hey, we was on Nip. We was on Nip, Dom Kennedy, Wiz, all them. Before a lot of people was on them. We was on them.
Oh, the mixtape days. Like the
Oh,
mixtape days.
listen, mixtape days. My boy Nap had this thing called a Zoom. It was before iPods. It's called a
Oh yeah.
Zoom. He used to have that thing thumping. We used to love it. We used to love the joints.
That's crazy. 'Cause I was every time I hear somebody say marathon, I'm like, oh, that's something I used to hear about Nipsey Hussle all the time.
Yeah,
Not to mention, and you wearing blue on your head, so it's
you
like,
know it.
come on now.
Come on now.
So, so,
If you know, you know.
so this leads to my question. So, I always ask my guests this question because Bonafide means authentic and unique, but for the men, the authenticity.
Mhm.
So, what makes Mr. Preece Lynch authentic, and what makes your story stands out?
I'm gonna be me all no matter what. To be honest, and everybody that knows me gonna tell you that I'm going to be me. I'm not gonna change myself for anybody. And that I took that approach to work and everything. I don't know how to be any way but myself, right? I was taught that like authenticity is like that's a trait of a person with high character. To be honest, if you're gonna be authentic, if you could be authentic in one room and be successful, you could be authentic in any room and be successful. So me being me and just being who I am as far as I'm very extroverted, very headstrong, and I'm outspoken. I'm gonna tell you what's on my mind. Yeah, I might tell you in a shitty way, or I might tell you in a way that's real chill. But regardless, the main thing is I'm gonna tell you. Like I'm gonna tell you. So that's what makes me me. And that's been something that's got me damn near well on my journey. I mean, I live decent. I got a good life, and me being authentic and being myself has been something that's been a driving force in it.
Hey, it's like I might tell a joke, but I won't tell you a lie.
You feel me? And look, I say that all the time. I say I tell you a lot, but I won't tell you a lie, right? Especially if it's something I'm telling one of my homies or somebody like that. I'm gonna tell you the real. You might not like the shit, but I don't really care. Like I care, but you need to hear it because I might need to hear it too, and I would want you to do the same. And that's the thing about, like I said, my circle, my guys that's around me, they not afraid to call me out on my shit, right? Like to tell me when my shit stinks. And that's that's the problem with a lot of like friendship groups. They'll let some shit brew, they'll let some shit marinate, and then they'll say shit behind somebody's back. I don't like that, right? Tell me my shit stinks in front of me. Tell me my shit stinks to my face so I can deal with it. Because if it's coming from somebody that I care about and I love, it's real. It's authentic. And that's how I try to present it to everybody else.
Hey, let me get my shakers for that. Let them know what it is. Yes, it's the closest thing to my tambourine. I gotta find my tambourine because anytime I hear something that's raw, real, and that's like dropping gems, there.
That's it. That's it.
Preece, can you let them folks know where they can support you, find you coming up, anything coming up your way?
Oh, man, y'all, I got a couple podcast episodes coming up. Follow me on Miguel's Minute Pod. That's Miguel's Minute Pod, one word. Other than that, man, y'all, I just keep me in your prayers. You feel me? I don't ask for much. Just keep me in your prayers.
Y'all be sure to follow the man, myth, the legend himself at Preece Lynch at Miguel's Minute in a Pod right now. Be sure to check that out. Hey, his podcast is fire too, y'all. Be sure to check out the podcast.
I appreciate it.
So, be sure to check out the live replay of Bonafide Podcast, episode 241, featuring the one and only Preece Lynch. Thank you guys for tuning in.